John Fredericks, America's Godzilla of Truth. He's popular and proficient in picking politics with prophetic precision. And now J. Fred's picking sports. Are y'all ready for this? All across the airwaves and streams of the John Fredericks Media Network, John, Jack, and Nate, three guys that are pretty wise when it comes to picking winners. Football, basketball, baseball, soccer, golf, UFC battles, you name it. When the game is on your mind and money's on the line, Godzilla Wins is your guide to picking winners. Before you make that play, hear what J. Fred has to say. Godzilla Wins on the John Fredericks Media Network.
Oh yeah, for entertainment purposes only.
All right, welcome to another edition of Godzilla Wins Live here on a Saturday. We normally call it a pick show. We'll have some picks at the end as we move off to the Elite Eight. NCAA basketball is in full force. Major League Baseball opening day happened this week. But first, I'm Mitch Rogers. I'm joined by John Fredericks, Kyle Carrington, and we introduce and bring in Ivy White for the first time on the show. Excited about that. So, yeah, I mean, it's March Madness has been in full swing. All the NCAA tournaments have been going on this past week. Lots of exciting things. And if you like to put some action on some of the sports, we're here for you. We'll give you some of those picks. But we have to do our disclaimer first. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-426-2537. That's in Colorado, Illinois, Indiana, Louisiana, Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, and Wyoming. 1-800-327-5050 or visit gamblinghelpline-ma.org in Massachusetts. Call 877-G-HOPE-NY-text HOPE-NY 467-369 in New York. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP if you're in Arizona, 1-800-522-4700 if you're in Kansas or New Hampshire, 1-888-789-777/ visit ccpg.org in Connecticut, 1-800-BETS-OFF in Indiana, or visit opgr.org in Oregon. That's the most nerve-wracking part of this entire thing.
You're doing great. You could do this as a profession.
I think I got the state acronyms wrong. So, I'll send this disclaimer out. It's on our website as well. So, if I got Indiana and Iowa mixed up, I do apologize. But hey, exciting times right now in the world of sports. We're going to do what we call a tease. We're going to tease the NCAA men's basketball tournament. That's going to be more second hour, but we're going to jump into the mix and, Major League Baseball and get into what is, and I know John's talked about it a lot, America's pastime. He's watched a lot of games with his father. I watched a lot of games with my father. And let's start with Major League Baseball. First, Kyle and Ivy, welcome to the show. I know John's opinions on baseball and stuff. How are you all? Kyle, are you excited about opening day of Major League Baseball?
Yes, I am. Super excited. I'm a Yankees fan, so we off to a good start. 1-0. We off to a good start 1-0, but I know that John loves the Astros. Astros. They took a loss last night.
All right, Kyle, we're going to get to the Yankees and the
every time the Yankees lose, an angel gets his wings. You know that,
I
right?
want to get to the Angels and the girl reading off her phone for the national anthem, which was kind of funny in the game. Ivy, are you a big baseball fan as well?
I'm definitely a Pirates fan, so I was a little disappointed with opening day, but hopefully we can bring it back. So
they came back in a big win last night.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, I'm a diehard Pirates fan as well. Our Buccos chat that includes a bunch of my cousins and friends. It's funny what it looked like from one night to the next. After last night, we're back, baby, 1-1. Hey, the world, world's our oyster. We'll get it. But yeah, that's Major League Baseball. It is weird that the Pirates, who, obviously a fledgling team, only been to the playoffs one time in 30 years or twice in 30 years. But they do have Paul Skeens, who is maybe maybe the best pitcher in baseball when it all comes out. And he had his opening start. He was excellent again, but the Pirates did the same thing they always do. He exits the game. Now, he walked a couple batters. He put himself in a position to lose that or get the no decision, which eventually was a no decision. But Ivy, that's what the Pirates did all last year. He'd give them like a 2 or 3 run lead. You threw the bullpen in there and they just blew it again. Is there any hope for the Pirates this year?
Hopefully our bullpen just stops blowing it. Skeens always just gives enough of a lead, and then the bullpen comes in, and it's exactly how we ended last year. So,
absolutely. And John, okay, so you start off with the Mets, right? And the Astros and the Mets. What was going on with did you see the unconventional umpire positioning where they had them on the side of the foul line? Are they doing some new stuff to try to right some wrongs and some officiating stuff?
Well, I think we've got a lot of balls in the that get hit down the line that I guess calls have been overturned, so they reposition the umps. So I wasn't really worried, but it had no impact on the game, which I watched last night. The majority of it. So Soto was like 9 million foot home run or something. But I was pleased with the start with the game. Tyler McGill's one of the best starters in the National League. He was tough last night. Diaz came in. He's impossible to hit. But Hunter Brown gave up a couple runs, but he looked very, very sharp. Our bullpen, our secondary bullpen shut the door. So I love watching Altuve out in left field when he went out there on opening day. He got a standing ovation from the fans out there, and he said it was the most emotional moment of his whole career. All the things he's done. I mean, he said, the best thing. So, look, I like our team. You can, beat the Mets 3 out of 4 at home, which I think we can. And then we'll go from there. McCullers is coming back. So I feel good. Arrigetti's pitching today. I like our team. A lot of energy. Cam Smith that we got from the Cubs in the Kyle Tucker trade got a hit in his first pitch, his first at bat. He could be a phenom. So I like our team, and I think we're going to win the division. But they're fun to watch. Lots of energy. Watching the Astros, I've watched them for I'm 67 since I'm 7, 60 years. These championship teams we had were a little more robotic, right? It was like, go out, open your briefcase, take your computer out. It's basically like going to work at the office. This team is, I think, has a little more energy, a little more excitement. I like Myers in center field. He finally has a shot to stay there. So we'll see what happens. I like the team. I think they're going to be a fun team to watch.
Yeah, and you mentioned it, Juan Soto and the New York Mets were on the opposite side. Obviously, Juan Soto getting just south of $800 million in his deal, hit a 390-foot rocket shot of a home run. So what do you think how that's going to play out? I know you don't like the gangster bankster as the New York's owner, but do you think that this addition and the Mets play, joining in that Dodgers world of, just exorbitant salary cap issues everywhere, but do you think they'll be competitive, and is Juan Soto the missing link for them?
I mean, sure, you're going to be competitive. I mean, you spend, $1 billion on players. If you're going to be competitive. But look, everybody knows how I stand on this stuff. I hate all teams except mine. I hate everything about them. I hate their stadiums. I hate their players. I hate the manager, the GMs. I hate the ball boys. I hate the beer. I hate the hot dogs. I hate everything about every other team. So, but I especially hate the Mets and the Yankees. So I just root for them to lose. Perfect day for me. Trifecta. Astros win. Mets lose. Yankees lose. I get a good night's sleep. That night, I hate them all. So we'll see what happens. But I am going to a game today. My good friend Ben Tribbett invited Ann and I, who's in D.C., to the Nationals Phillies game in his box. So first, since the Pirates, when my son wanted to see Paul Skeens pitch, and I got tickets behind home plate. This is probably the second game I've seen that my team hasn't been involved in probably 30 years. So we're going to have fun.
And opening day does provide some intriguing matchups. The Nats and the Phillies is a big one. I'm from this area, or from the Nationals area, just 30 miles south of DC. You had Bryce Harper back, and he's been gone for years. Bryce Harper wanted to stay, but the Boo Birds were out in full force. They were going after him, and I think it's probably because now he is, Mr. Philly in there. But for the Nats, the Nats have some buzz about being maybe a sleeper team. Except, that division is so tough with the Braves and such in there. But Mackenzie Gore. For the Nats, he pitched an absolute gem on opening day, only to have the Pirates thing where the bullpen then comes in and tries to wreck his day. John, you're going to be there tomorrow. The Nationals buzz today you're going to feel it. 80-degree day.
Today,
and when the Nats are good, that city is electric, and I'll be the first to admit it. I think they have some buzz. Tell me what you think, John. You think you're going to be looking for the Nationals to could they make any run to get through that East Division?
No.
Maybe a wild card. We'll get there.
No.
Kyle, I want to know about the Yankees. You guys took Garrett Cole from me a long time ago. Well, you took him first. Hold on. John's team took him first, and then the Yankees took him, because as Ivy knows, the Pirates are we're waiting to see where Skeens is going to go in 5 or 6 years. And Garrett Cole is a perfect example of how that works out. He was injured almost all last year. He's out for the whole year this year. That's really, put the Yankees in a little deficit there in the pitching staff. How do you think they're going to do this year, Kyle?
I still think we could win the AL East. It's going to be tough overcoming a lot of injuries. We got Giancarlo Stanton on the IL as well as DJ LeMahieu. So we're struggling right now with injuries, but we got Aaron Judge, man. So we still got hope to win the AL East. I think that it's going to be tough with the Blue Jays and the Orioles and the Red Sox this year. The Red Sox is going to be tough. So it's a tough division, but still gonna roll with my Yankees. I'm always gonna roll with my Yankees.
Yeah, John, and in that competitive AL East, who do you think comes out of there? I love it. I love it when it's the Orioles and the Blue Jays on top, and the Red Sox and the Yankees can kind of take a back seat a little bit. And I think the Red Sox have some potential after getting your boy from the Astros, but
yeah, he's hitting $125. Yeah, whatever.
In 2 games. 3
whatever,
games.
Dude. Let's see, $40 million a year, and he's hitting 2 games in. He's hitting $125. He's had 1 hit, so far they paid $40 million a hit. It's a good investment.
That's it. Hey, so you can do that same math with Soto. So now Soto is 1 home run. Yeah, okay, it's been 1 game, right, or 2 games. We're good. I like the Orioles. The Orioles have the Orioles opening day. Tyler O'Neill broke a record. He hit his 6th opening day home run in a row. That's the weirdest record in the world. But the Orioles, I think, could really make a run here this year. But how do you hit 6? That's just the weirdest feat in the world. like 6 opening
6
day
in a row.
Yes, 6 in a row. The Blue Jays could. I do think that the Blue Jays and the Orioles are probably a little bit ahead of the Red Sox, and then who knows? It's always the Yankees. It'll be midseason moves. You have to figure that out. But when you roll over to, the American League's fine and dandy. National League seems to be loaded. Obviously you start with the Dodgers, and I'll pose the question to the panel out here. Ivy, can anyone take this Dodgers team down this year?
We're gonna hope so, but I don't know. It's so early; it's hard to tell. But yeah, I honestly, it's really hard to tell. The Dodgers always are solid.
Kyle, Mookie Betts even loses like 30 pounds in 1 week, and then still hits not 1 but 2 home runs yesterday. 1 to tie it, 1 with the lead. Is there anyone derailing this force of a Dodgers team this year?
Cancel the season, man. We might as well just hand them the rings right now. It's over with. I think that the Dodgers got it in the books, and I hate to say that as a Yankees fan, but when you buy a team like that, it's hard to beat them. And I like the Padres. I like the Braves. I also think that the Mets is going to be a tough outing every night, but just on the long haul of things, it's no way. And if Ohtani get back to pitching, just end it all.
Right. And Otani healthy, coming back. But that, and I know I teased it a little bit, but that Mookie Betts story was just crazy. All of a sudden he gets a sickness, loses 20 pounds or 15 to 20 pounds in a matter of like a 2-week span. And he's already gaining weight back. Like athletes, I mean, I can't even fathom how that even happens. And he goes, and he's still, 15 pounds underweight, still hits 2 home runs. And he said, I never lost my strength. I'm like, if I lost 15 pounds, I don't have much strength to begin with. The fact that he's sitting there, but if there's anyone, I mean, the Dodgers, I get it, but we've seen these big Goliath, these teams go down before. I mean, Yankees, it took them 15 years to get back to the big stage again, even though they've had the payrolls up there. Someone can take the Dodgers down, right? You're watching the Phillies today. They could potentially be a team.
Well, they're going to win the division. I mean, like I'm not going to get into the whole salary cap thing, and until baseball figures this out, it really becomes ridiculous when you're spending that kind of money and just buy. I mean, it's good. It's the same thing is happening in college baseball, right? With the Louisiana State, with the LSU Tigers, they have they have so much money in that NIL pot from those donors and other people involved with the university, the benefactors. They have so much money, they buy the best players in the country, and you're going to see that this year again in the portal. We got a guy, Chase Meyer, West Virginia, lights out again yesterday. They can't hit him.
Best slider in baseball. Maybe best slider in the world.
Can't hit him. He could go right to he could go. He's not draft eligible next season. There's no way this kid stays in West Virginia. I mean, he'll go to Louisiana State. He'll get $250,000. I mean, they just buy the best players. I don't know what the NCAA is going to do about that. They have to figure it out. I know we have a ruling coming in April, put some guidelines on it. But, the thing about baseball is, are the Dodgers going to win the division? Yes. 162 games. They're just going to grind you out to get all the best players. Then you get in the playoffs, and then everything changes because, your first series is even if they get a bye, it's a 7-game series. Another pitcher gets hot, a team gets hot, you catch them on fire. And then they take you down, just like the D-backs swept them 2 seasons ago, shocked them. These things happen. Just like, look, the Orioles have won what? The East, how many times, Kyle? 2 times straight? They've won the East. They've yet to win a playoff game. Yeah. And they get to the playoffs, and it's like, deer in the headlights, and they all stop hitting, and they can't win a game. So, you get in the playoffs, it's a little bit tougher, but we'll see what happens. But they should run away with that division. How
do the Dodgers make their money back? I mean, is there even a way they actually make any money right now?
Yeah, because of the TV rights, because of a Tony is getting all this. He's selling all kinds of things like crazy. They got TV rights now in Japan. I mean, they're going to somehow end up making this where they're not going to lose money on the deal. But even if they did, when you're the gangster bankster on the Mets, whatever his name is, Steve Cohen or something, and you've made billions of dollars, stealing money from, a little old lady investors, because that's what these people do. You got more money than God. It doesn't matter. You just want to be there. You want to go in the box. You have you want to go to a World Series. You want to, pump your chest out. It's your ego. You don't care. I mean, they're going to lose money. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
Obviously, I can't stand the guy.
No, I can't either. And the Dodgers obviously have that. They're going to have everyone except for the LA area is going to be rooting against them. I think the Dodgers. I think the Braves bring a. Obviously, they're going to be a force this year. They're going to slowly bring back Ronald Acuna. Spencer Strider will come back later. They seem like a team that could gel at the end. But you're right. If they get, the only real chance is if they get in the 5-game series or they get the bye, you get them. You get them down, or you get a hot pitcher going after them. But I know one thing: everybody's rooting against them. I also know another thing. That before I can do this show, I have to have caffeine, John. I have to be like ready to roll, ready to rumble. I believe we have a new sponsor that is just aptly named coffee.com.
So 1775coffee.com.
Okay, 1775coffee.com.
Right now, this is a new coffee. I signed up for a year. Everybody knows I'm a coffee snob, right? I won't drink Starbucks. I don't drink Shadow's Best. The majority of coffees, I can't stand them. So I got to and I drink 8 cups a day, Ivy. So, that's why when you see me at the ball games, I'm just a little bit wired. I drink 8 to 10 cups a day, every day, 7 days a week. I love my coffee. And we went through a couple of them. We had Beard Vet for a long time on the show. The company owners had a fight. They dissolved the company. I was like depressed for a time. But finally, I got my coffee back. 1775 coffee, absolutely phenomenal. Dark roast, medium roast. I got premium coffees. They have the flavors, which I don't get. But I got the beans. I got the grounds. I got the K-Cups right here. I got the beans right here. Tomorrow I'm going to grind them. I don't have time today. I didn't want to wake up with the grinder, but I got my K-Cups. Just go to 1775coffee.com, 1775coffee.com. You're going to love this so much. Promo code Godzilla gets you 10% off. Try it one time. You're going to be hooked. Just try it once. That's all I ask. You're going to love it. 1775coffee.com. Promo code Godzilla, 10% off.
I like the logo too. I want a coffee cup just like that.
You got to get this, Mitch. You got to get it. Your family's going to. If your wife loves, I mean, I'm excited about it because it is really the best I've ever. They sent it to me, and I'm like, I don't know, because if I don't like it, I'm not going to sign up. I loved it. I fell in love with it. I signed up for a year. That's how much I love my 1775 coffee.
Yeah, interesting tidbit about me. I grew up in an era before they probably diagnosed, the ADHD and all those things, attention deficit. The last thing my friends ever wanted me to do was get on coffee, but I didn't drink my first cup of coffee until I have a 10-year-old daughter. She's about to be 10. So about 10 years ago, I drank coffee, and then I came into my office, and my office was like, please stop. Please, no, just off the walls. But just like every other thing you do, it like worked for like 3 days. And I was like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever. And then on that day 4, it was like, now I just need it. Now it's just like just to live. I am going to get on 1775coffee.com. I can't wait. All right. So I was all excited for opening day of baseball. For some weird scheduling quirk, they do it on the same day as the, Sweet 16, opening Sweet 16. But it was during the day. The Pirates were coming on. I believe it was 4 o'clock, Ivy. So I get home early from work. I'm going to sit down. MLB.TV puts all the games on free for the first week. So you can, they can suck you in, and then you buy the package for $300 or whatever it is. Get on there and can't get the Pirates. Okay, I get it. It's the Pirates, so I'm like, all right, they're just, and then you get on Twitter, and then you see the Reddit feeds, and the whole MLB.TV, Kyle, just completely out. How big of a failure for Manfred and MLB on their number one platform on opening day to not work for several hours?
It's the wrong time for a situation like that, considering they just lost the ESPN TV rights. Right. They still haven't found a replacement for the TV rights. Manfred blows it again. I mean, you just can't have that. And hopefully they get it together because of the TV rights situation. That's one of the only ways that some people have the way to watch baseball and watch their team. Some people not locally where their team is. Like, I'm a Yankees fan, but I live in Pittsburgh. I might not be able to get the Yankees game on a local station. So I need MLB.TV. And yeah. So they got to get it together quick, but it's not the right time for that. So hopefully they figure these issues out.
Ivy, they didn't just build the MLB.TV site, and they have known its opening day for like 3 years. Yeah. How does stuff like this happen? And it's just a colossal error for them. And then just to watch them, try to explain it away. But yeah that's a big failure, huge. Right?
That's the one day that should not happen. Like, that's when you're getting everybody hooked. Everybody's excited to watch the games, and they get on and it's just blacked out. It's so bad.
I mean, John, all you got to do is give me an excuse to go back to the old days of bunny ears on my TV, where I know at least I can control whether or not the broadcast is going to work, rather than having some, nerds in a server suite screwing things up for me. I've jumped on the bandwagon. I'm all YouTube, but it's my biggest nightmare. I'm YouTube, TV. I'm all internet based. And if that goes out like on a Super Bowl Sunday or the first day of baseball with March Madness just creeping behind there, that's a huge issue, John. And the internet scares me still in 2025.
Well, the guy's a moron. I mean, Manfred has got to be the worst baseball commissioner in the history of baseball. I mean, you really have to go back and try to find somebody. Maybe the old owner of Milwaukee when he took over in lieu of somebody else doing it. But this guy has screwed up everything he's touched. He's a complete and utter disaster. Why the owners keep this guy around is beyond me. I mean, he goes to the baseball draft. He comes out there. They introduce him. What happens? He gets roundly heckled and booed every time he comes out by everybody that's there at the draft. So, the guy's a disaster. Every decision he makes, you've got to question. And look, opening day is a big deal. I mean, I work very hard, as everybody knows. But I mean, I think the first games are coming out at 1. Like, I just shut everything down and send out an X or tweet, whatever you call it now. And I'm said, hey, don't call me. I'll call you opening day. I'm playing hooky. And, I got 2 TVs here at the studio. I got 2 games on. Then I can't get the Pirates game. I'm like, I want to see Skeens pitch. Like, WTF. I mean, that's why I took the day off. Like, whether I like the Pirates or not, I want to see Skeens. Can't get that. Half the games you can't get. I don't know what this guy is doing. Before that, ESPN would have 6 games on. They'd start at like 1 p.m. and then games would go on until midnight on the West Coast. So instead, you got no ESPN games. Everything is internet based. It crashes. You can't get half the games. I mean, come on, man.
Well, even the way that, and I don't like to bash on Manfred as much as you do, but even the way that they do opening day now, it's kind of weird because then you have like the Dodgers doing some exhibition. I can't tell when the season starts. They always start it like 3 days ahead of time for like one team. It feels like, like on Memorial Day, like when they have that Monday baseball, it feels like they should just roll it out like that and just make it a spectacular event where everyone plays on the same day. And it seems like they flub up opening day, right? It doesn't feel like it has the buzz.
Well, they're stuck with the money by going to Japan or going to Korea. So that's got to be 2 weeks early, get the teams back. It's a 20-hour flight or whatever. So or they go out of the country to try to build the brand. I mean, I guess that's money. I get that. But when you and I grew up, opening day, everybody played on the same day. All teams played, and the first game was 12 o'clock. The Cincinnati Reds. Right, that was the tradition. They were one of the first teams. They played back in the days. They played at Crosby Field or something. But the Reds opened at noon and then all the games are playing the same day. Now you got like a couple of teams didn't play. I think Tampa didn't even play the first day. And now because of Tampa, this is the other interesting tidbit here. Because of Tampa's roof blew off, they got to play in a minor league stadium.
Yeah.
In Tampa. And so because of the flooding in Tampa during the spring, I think it was 75% of their first 2 months games are at home because the floods come in the summer. So they got all these home games in the first 60 days, and then they go on the road. They never get back. So I don't know if it helps them or hurts them, probably hurts them. But that's kind of an interesting tidbit. That's not Manfred. He didn't have an option there. Yeah.
You're listening to the Godzilla Wins show here on Saturday. We'll be doing some picks in the second half for some NCAA basketball. I'm Mitch Rogers, joined by John Fredericks, Kyle Carrington, and Ivy White. You bring up the Tampa Bay Rays, and this is what I love about baseball. It's just these weird, unique stats like the Orioles with 6 opening day home runs. Tampa Bay's outfielder Cameron Misner made history with a walk-off home run. His first home run in baseball was a walk-off, history in itself. But you just brought up that stadium that they're playing at, the one that looks exactly like the Yankee Stadium, or how is it, Steinbrenner Field? Is that what they're calling it down there?
Steinbrenner Field.
Well, like it goes in the record books now as well as on its opening day usage. It's an first time at the opening stadium, and it had a walk-off home run in its first time being used. And some weird stat, even though it's not one of the 30 some major league teams out there. Have you been down to that? I haven't been down to that. It's Kyle, it's exactly the parameters and the specs of Yankees Field, right? Yankee Stadium.
I'm not really familiar with the stadium that much, but I did see the Misner home run. I was super impressed with that.
Yeah, that's cool. That's what he said. Well, he said he goes, it felt like Yankee Stadium because they make it look the same, I guess, in the back out there.
Yeah, I've never been there, but I've heard it's very nice. The time that I've spent in Tampa, the people that have gone there. But the other thing I'm looking forward to, which I think is going to be really fun, everybody mocks it, but I'm looking forward to the A's playing in Sacramento in that little little bandbox, that little Sacramento triple double A stadium, whatever they got there. They opened up, I think, on the road. I think they won last night. I did bet them last night. I forget who they played. I did win that, but it's going to be interesting. Don't count the A's out. I mean, they got a frontline closer. They've got decent starting pitching. They hit, and they're going to hit a ton of homers in that little baseball stadium.
And and I forgot about that story too. Like the A's moving on out of Oakland is going to be sad. Are there any other surprise teams that you can think of, John, that could pop up here? You might be watching one with the Nats today. I'm just trying to. It's basically I just want someone to.
Cubs.
Yeah.
Cubs.
Yeah.
Look out for the Cubs. That is probably the two weakest divisions are mine, AL West. Who do we compete with? Texas. I'm more afraid of the A's right now than I am Texas.
Right.
Because I think the A's are going to shock everybody and go over 500. They're not going to be the patsies they were. That's number one. Number two, I like Chicago because if you look at the Cubs last season, they hit. Now they added Kyle Tucker. They're going to hit more. Guy's a class act. But then they blew 29. Get this, 29 leads where they had to lead in the eighth inning. 29. 18 of them in the ninth inning. So that's 30 wins because they didn't have a closer. Now they got Ryan Presley, our guy, who is, if he has a good season, the Cubs are going to be a very tough team in that NL Central. So I like the Cubs as the shocker, A's as the shocker. The other team I don't want you to count out is Tampa Bay. I don't know how Cash does it, but he just shakes the pitching tree. I don't know even how he grows them or something. And he gets all these guys that come in throwing 97. I don't know. He gets it every season. They have no money, and he seems to compete. So Rays are always they're going to be tough. And I think they're going to get off to a great start with all these home games. So that's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. You're listening to the Godzilla Wins live show. We're also brought to you by WestVirginiaSportsNation.com. WestVirginiaSportsNation.com. Say it twice because Kyle, Ivy, and myself, we were a little biased here. We got a little input into there, and Kyle and Ivy have been showcasing some tremendous articles. Ivy, my 10-year-old, I am trying to inspire her to do what Daddy does. And no offense, when she sees the name Kyle, whatever, it's just a dude. When she sees Ivy, she's more interested. So I just want to let you know we've read some of your stuff. Tell our viewers and our listeners a little bit about some of the pieces you've written.
Yeah, so I'm really enjoying it, and that's super exciting about your 10-year-old. I love that. Tell her I say hello. Thank you for reading. Yeah, so I recently did one on the baseball team. They blew out Marshall 7-0. So I got to attend that press conference after the game, talk to Coach Sabins. Two of the players came out, Chase Swain, David Hagan. So that was really exciting. I did a really good piece on that one. The WVU track team is also at the Raleigh Relays right now. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited to write. I think I'm going to do 2 pieces on that. They started yesterday, finished late last night. And then they're also, I think they started today at like 9:30 or 10. So they should be doing more today. So I'm excited to write on those too.
That's awesome. We're so happy and lucky. I'm honestly lucky to have you. You are a brilliant writer. Kyle, you've been writing for Godzilla Wins. We're writing for WVSportsNation.com. Tell us a little bit about some of the pieces that you've written recently.
My most recent pieces that you could check out on WVSportsNation.com is Ross Hodge, the Ross Hodge hiring. That was my most recent piece. I've been pretty much specializing in covering the basketball, women's and men's basketball. I'm excited to get into this offseason, especially with the new parameters of college basketball. I get to see what Ross Hodge do with NIL, what he does in the transfer portal, what he brings over, maybe some North Texas guys, and then also the women's, how do we recover from losing JJ Quinterly? So I'm super excited about the offseason. I'll get into a way too early preview for the 25-26 season, but I've been covering a lot of basketball.
Yeah, and John, I know we're going to do a little bit about that Ross Hodge hire at the bottom of the hour here. And I was talking to John yesterday, and it's one of those emotional times for West Virginia sports. Again, we'll do it later in the hour. But I was writing a column, and my opinion changed in the middle, pivot, didn't post it because I have a different interpretation on what this means. It's just a little bit off.
Well, how did it change?
Well, I was just doing something glowing, just nothing but positives. But then I had to go, I had to put a little, little realistic spin on it because, hey, the guy wins everywhere, but he hasn't really been anywhere. He's our AD's best friend. We'll get to it. We'll get to it at the bottom of the hour. But you know what, John, man, you're looking good. I mean, are you taking something? I mean, what's going on here? Is your hair growing while you're broadcasting?
It is growing as we speak because I take collagen every day. Because look, the most important protein as you get older. Now, Kyle and Ivy, you don't need this, right? So forget about it, right? Because you guys are young and vibrant and all that. So collagen, though, Dr. Chad Walding taught me this. It's one of the most critical proteins your body can have because it helps your enzymes, it helps your metabolism, but is essential protein. As you get older, over 40, that starts replenishing out of your body. And it's kind of been overlooked by a lot of the doctors until Chad Walding came along and he's like, it's not getting replenished because of the meats we eat. A lot of them are Frankenstein meat, that they're corporate cows that are not grazed properly. So you don't get it back. So it depletes out of your body. So the best thing that you can do is get collagen. And how do you get that? 100% no additives from nativepath.com. Go to nativepath.com, nativepath.com/Godzilla, no promo code, nativepath.com/Godzilla. You're going to get 45% off. This is going to cost you $1 a day. You put 2 scoops a day in your coffee, tea, milk, water, whatever you drink when you get up, put the 2 scoops in, mix it up. If you get a frother like I do, you get started in there, tasteless. But I tell you what, in 2 weeks, you're going to feel better because it supports your joints and your bones. It the soreness that you have throughout your body as you get older, that starts going away. Your hair starts coming back. You get more color, and I'm just more active. So thank you, Dr. Chad Walding. Great product. Go to getnativepath.com/Godzilla. It's $1 a day, Mitch.
All right, you're listening to Godzilla Wins Live. I'm Mitch Rogers. That was John Fredericks. We're joined by Kyle Carrington and Ivy White. Someone that's doing something to keep them young and healthy has to be Alex Ovechkin. So right now, I'm going to pivot a little bit. We got to give this man his flowers. Ivy, I don't know if you're like me. If you're a Pirates fan, you're probably a Penguins fan. Okay, all right. So I am a Penguins fan too, but hey, we threw hate out the window about 4 or 5 years ago. They're the Ovechkin and Crosby, the best rivals in the world, both chasing down Gretzky records. Actually, Crosby beat one last night, but I'm not going to take the flowers away from Ovechkin. Ovechkin, he's sitting there, 889 career goals. He's 5 away from tying the great one, 6 away from breaking a record that I remember 10 years ago saying there is no chance in hell that anybody could ever get this record. And while the Penguins and the Caps are rivals, you kind of would just try to downplay his greatness. But man, John Ovechkin, it's a truly amazing feat that he is about to do this. And now it's like, now the bets are, will he make it this year or not? But I mean, truly remarkable for when they came in. They came in when I was basically just starting in radio. I literally remember when they were both drafted one year after the other, and now 20 years later to see him about to break this record. It's truly remarkable.
The only thing I don't like about moving out of Pittsburgh, where I was exiled for 4 years by the Biden administration, and back in D.C., back out of exile, is leaving the Penguins because we became Penguins fans. I mean, I never really had a hockey team. I never followed it that much, but the thing about the Penguins fans, when you go to these games, they got to be the most knowledgeable hockey fans, Mitch, that you'll ever find. And when you said there's no hate there. I mean, they root for their team. We got a lot of old players. We're not going to make the playoffs this season again. But the knowledge of the fans, they appreciate really good hockey. So I think it's going to be fun. I mean, watching, look, they could have unloaded Crosby and got new players and started the rebuild earlier. But they wouldn't do it because the fans wanted Crosby to say, you want to go to the games and you want to see Crosby play, right? That's what you want to do. And so, ownership there took it on the chin. Now they got to do a tougher rebuild. But I just my hats off to Pirates ownership who put the fans ahead of everything.
I mean, Kyle, the reason why this seems to be almost unprecedented is the reason we made excuses for Ovechkin 10 years ago. A lot of people said, hey, he might be the greatest scorer. He's never going to get the record because the great one played in a scoring league where they didn't do butterflies. The goalies didn't even know how to do a splits yet. They were just unathletic. Pads were small. Kyle, him doing it in this more defensive era, I mean, what does that say about this record?
Oh man, this is a remarkable journey to get here for Ovechkin. Well deserved. I just hope that he get it done this year, considering he started off the season in the first 18 games, he had 15 goals. 15 goals. He just smoking high. He just getting it done. And then he had suffered injury. And in his last 36 games, he got 21 goals. So he was on pace to just obliterate the record. And then all of a sudden he went down with injury. So I'm rooting for him to get it done this season. But it's unheard of just to think about the fact in this era, nobody would think we don't know if Wayne Gretzky would have the record he have in this era. Not to take away from his greatness, but it's just this era, the way they play defense, the physicality, the bigger pads, the athleticism. I mean, these guys, it's a defensive era. So to see Ovechkin get it done in this era is super impressive. And I'm a super Alex Ovechkin fan. I'm a super fan. So I'm rooting for him to get it done this year. Excited to see what he does.
Yeah, I'm rooting for it too. I'm rooting for it as long as these Capitals that are pretty darn good don't win a cup, because it's been easy for me to be on the Crosby is above Ovechkin 3 cups. When I used to go to the games, I probably go to more Caps games. I used to go to and I used to take a picture of the Winter Classic banner. This was 5 years ago before they won the cup, and I'd always send it. I'd be like, nice banners, because it was always President's Trophy, Winter Cup, but. In my quest to hate Ovechkin, it's gone the other way. There's been a mutual respect, Ivy, and what he did the other night, they played the Minnesota Wild. Marc-Andre Fleury didn't even start. And this man that I want to hate so badly, grabbed his entire team to shake Fleury's hand because Fleury is going to be retiring and that's the last time they're going to see each other. I'm not kidding. Ovechkin brought tears to my eyes, Ivy. I can't hate him. I don't hate him now. How impressive is this record? And the fact that he is just so humble and such a good dude.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm a big Penguins fan. I root for the Penguins, but yeah, you can't hate him. He's just so humble. And like you said, to go up to Fleury and, have everybody shake hands because of him retiring. That's just somebody you can't hate. Like Kyle was saying, I also hope that he gets it this season. It'll be interesting if they take him out for to save him for the playoffs, to see if he gets it before that. Maybe he even gets it in the playoffs. But yeah, definitely super impressive, and hopefully he can get it this season.
Yeah, because none of his points totals will count when he goes to the playoffs. So yeah, he needs to get it in the regular season. He's got a few games left. But I'd be remiss, of course. We talk Ovechkin. Of course, I'm going to bring up Crosby. Crosby clinches 20th season, averaging at least 1 point per game. That passed Wayne Gretzky. And, Wayne Gretzky wasn't just a goal scorer, too. So when people argue about who's the better player overall, no one's questioning it. Ovechkin's got his part. The great one, like to do assists as well. But Crosby, the points per game thing, especially at age 37, John, is truly remarkable. And his season that he's had this year, besides his remarkable ones where he won MVP, getting over 100 points, but he's over 80 points this year on a team that is just not good, and he is still playing remarkable hockey. And hopefully the Penguins can build around that. But John, I mean, poor Gretzky, man, he's just rolling around and his records are getting beaten. But when it comes to Crosby, I don't think he minds as much as with the Canadian blood roots.
I think NHL has had a resurgence. You would agree with me, right? In the last 5 years, maybe. And for a sport to get a resurgence, not that hockey was going down, but it's kind of stuck there. But it got a resurgence, and you get a resurgence through great players that people want to follow and that people find exciting and that they can relate to. And I think that's what you had with Gretzky. That's what you had back in the early days with Bobby Hull. A lot of there's a lot more baseball and football fans than there are and basketball fans than hockey fans, because not everybody's played it to that extent. I mean, everybody's played pickup basketball. Everybody's played Little League baseball. Many people have. Girls play softball. So not a lot of people play hockey. So as a result of that, you're not going to get the fan base. But then you got to relate to players. And I think that is what Cosby and now the guy that you're talking about, I always say his name wrong, but now you can relate to him. And I think it was a class act, going out, shaking the hand, making all of his young players go out and respect Fury. That's just the kind of things that endear people to athletics. But let me just highlight one thing you said. I think it was Kyle that said it. We're in a defensive era, right? Let me say 4 letters. Jets. Jets are going to win the cup. We're in a defensive league. I know they're boring. I know they're not exciting. I know they don't score a lot. Right? I get all that. Nobody wants to watch them play. It's like watching the paint dry. I get it. But you're in a defensive mold right now. They got the best. They got one of the best defenses ever assembled. They play methodical, plodding hockey. It's boring, but it is made to win that cup. I think they are going to be the team to beat.
Hey, listeners and viewers, if you can somehow find John's hockey picks right now, I don't know where they're at now. We'll figure out a place. Maybe you put them on Twitter or something.
I put them up on X. Right now, I've switched over to baseball. Yeah. I don't have time to do both. So
I'll get one. We'll get one out. We'll get one out of you before the day's over. You know what? So now, today, Saturdays, like last week, we picked like a trillion games. Right now, we're down to the Elite Eight. It's a little bit later. They don't even start till like 6 and 8 o'clock. So you got a lot of free time. If you're in my area, that means you may be able to head down to Rosie's Casino. Yeah,
man, just go to rosiesgaming.com, rosiesgaming.com. Don't forget, horse racing starts again in July. Go to colonialdowns.com. But I just went to that new hotel they put up, Mitch, in Loudoun County on 95 in Northern Virginia. That thing is gorgeous. Ann and I went there when we were going, I guess, Richmond, Washington. So we just saw it, said, why don't we just stop here? It's one of our advertisers. So we went, stopped there. Place is phenomenal. All the fun you could possibly have, biggest payouts, biggest jackpots, the lowest state takeout. That's why they pay bigger. Just go to rosiesgaming.com, rosiesgaming.com. Have fun, win money. And for you guys out there, great place to take your significant other on a date. You just might get lucky twice.
My wife's not, or maybe I hope my wife is listening. Hold on. All right. I don't know what to say there. John, you're making me blush there. Nice live read there. All right, we're going to pivot a little bit. Like I said, in the bottom of the hour, we're going to do a little bit of West Virginia's basketball hire, but we don't want to talk about things that aren't happening right now. The NCAA women's tournament is in full force right now. Paige Buchers, she's going to be the number 1 pick. They already know what team she's going to go to, right? In the weird NCAA, the way the seasons roll out. She had 34 points against Gamble Pavilion. She is just rolling right now. Kyle, are you following this NCAA women's tournament? What has been sticking out is obviously we'll get the Juju Watkins, but man, it's been exciting so far.
You mentioned Paige Buchers. While you mention her, I think that they're my favorite to win it all. Looking at South Carolina from the other side, they're struggling to guard right now. But UConn, Paige Buchers, Sarah Strong, Ozzie Fudd, they put the ball in the basket at a high rate, and then they also guard. I think they're the most balanced team left, and they got helped out a lot with Juju Watkins' injury. So they get past Oklahoma, then they see USC. I think that UConn is my favorite to win it. And then I think that it'll be UConn and South Carolina in the championship. And I'm picking UConn because South Carolina's struggling to guard right now.
Yeah, look at that game yesterday, Kyle. Ann and I watched that game in D.C. We thought Maryland was going to win that game. They had a 4-point lead with about, 3 minutes to go. I mean, they played them right down to the wire, losing by 4 in that game. That your hats off to to Maryland, because it didn't look on paper like they were going to match up that well, Kyle.
Yeah, Maryland coming off of a double overtime win against Alabama, you would think they'd run out of gas, especially to go up against the high-powered, high-octane South Carolina offense. But Maryland just gave them a run for their money. They came hard. I think that if they didn't play that double overtime game, they might not run out of gas at the end of the game to keep it, but it looked like Maryland was going to win it for at least 75% of the game.
I thought they were going to win it.
Yeah.
It just at the end things didn't go their way. But here's what I want to throw this out there, Mitch, if I can. Okay, the Duke Blue. I think is going to be a Duke double whammy. Duke BOGO, right? Buy one get one. They hold the Duke Lady Devils hold the Tar Heels to 38 points in an Elite Eight game. How do you only get 38 points in 4 quarters? It's like 8 points a quarter. Like, how do you do that? That defense is unbelievable. Now, they only scored 47. So you talk about, the Jets in hockey, very slow, they slow everything down. But what do you think of when a team scores 38 points in an Elite Eight game?
Yeah, no, that and I'll throw that out to either Kyle or Ivy too. Our friends were talking about that last night. We don't follow women's college basketball enough, and I'm starting to now in this role a little bit more. But when you see the scoring disparities, like you see, there's several teams that have scored over 100 points in this tournament, and then when you watch the North Carolinas, we watch West Virginia. I mean, they barely score 50 points. So, like Ivy, what is it? Is it some teams are just way better? Is that just this when in women's basketball, if you decide to do a defensive philosophy, you can reduce the points by 50%? Like, so it's a pretty crazy discrepancy, Ivy.
Yeah, I think with the Duke game yesterday with UNC, it's really interesting. I mean, they held them to 38 points, but they only got the 47. So like John was saying, I think it's a slow burning game. I think it just shows that Duke can hold them there. So I do think they have a good shot, but I'm also rooting for UConn. I'm a big UConn fan, men's and women's, and Paige Buchers led them to the Final Four in 2021. So I definitely think they have that opportunity to come back this year and at least get into Final Four, if not win it all.
This is old man West Virginia right here. West Virginia saying they're a UConn fan. I mean, you're Big East. You don't even know what the Big East is, Ivy. You don't even know what the Big East is. You didn't yell "fat boy" when Khalid El-Amin was running down the court. We would go. The Maniacs were Maniacs in '97. We'd be like "fat boy, fat." We rushed the court when we beat UConn. So, any chance of like UConn's done it right, where they the championships for both squads in the same year? Can Duke do that, Kyle? You think Duke has enough chance to do that? I know on the men's side they have a chance, but the women's side,
you would love to see them slow the game down versus South Carolina and play at that pace that they played with North Carolina. But North Carolina was also a defensive team, so it was a defensive battle where both teams was looking to do the same thing, and Duke's style just won out. When you go against South Carolina, you bring that style to South Carolina, they're going to dictate the pace. It's not going to happen. They're not going to have a chance to hold South Carolina under 50 points, 60 points. It's not happening. South Carolina will get well into the 70s. They're going to push the pace. They're going to play the game. They're athletes. They're too athletic. They got an interior presence as well as perimeter game. I mean, Duke has a great run. They're holding teams to, not only did they hold North Carolina to 38, teams are only averaging 38.7 points this tournament against them, which is the third lowest in history. So Duke has done it over and over again, but when you go against South Carolina and Don Staley, it's just a different ball game.
I mean, you know what? And I love Don Staley. Always has a chip on her shoulder. Everybody's always messing with them. Oh, we're a 2 seed. Well, you lost like 8. You know what I mean? But she always runs into the tournament, and I like that. She's just an amazing coach, and it's nice to see because when I was a kid, it was all Tennessee. It was almost like in women's basketball, one person could take over the entire league. You know, went from Tennessee to UConn forever, and then seemingly South Carolina. I think we were robbed a little bit in this tournament last year. Obviously, we had you know 2 superstars that took over the league. This year, you had that too. You had Paige Buchers and you had Juju Watkins. Juju Watkins gets injured. Kyle, I know there was some controversy when you look at the play, like if it was intentional or not. Everyone's kind of put that. Prater did not do that on purpose, in my opinion. But Juju out obviously shakes up the tournament, but LSU's still going strong. Do they have a chance?
LSU. I think the LSU falls short in the Final Four, but I don't think they really have a chance. They're not too defensively sound.
I'm sorry, USC. My fault.
Oh.
Yeah.
USC. South Carolina has a chance. Oh, USC. USC has no chance. They come up against Paige Buchers next round, so I don't think they have a chance. Without Juju Watkins, no, I don't see them having a chance.
Well, can we talk about Ivy? Can we talk about you guys are talking about coaches? Where's the conversation here about Kim Mulkey? She's in, right? She's in the thing again. She's going to take her team right down to the wire again. I mean, this woman who gets all this flack because of her flamboyance. She's also, politically, where she stands. She's, Trump person, so she got a lot of flack over that. But she doesn't care. I mean, Kim Mulkey doesn't care. She is who she is. How does she keep getting these players and winning, Kyle and Ivy?
NIL.
Yeah. They're
LSU has NIL. They do really well in the transfer portal, but Kim Mulkey, she's a great coach. I love what she does. She gets her players. She get the most out of her players. They play hard for her every night. Flajay is really a really spectacular athlete, but they come up against UCLA next. Lauren Betts, they have nothing for her. I think that LSU falls short next game.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, when you look at a coach like Kim and the flamboyant, she's very flamboyant. She doesn't care, and I always love watching just tuning the game and to see what kind of outfit she has on. Some of their outfits are just crazy, like electric suits and whatever else she's got. But what is the message for female athletes? She is so like in your face. What message does she send to young female athletes?
I mean, I think the biggest thing is like she's not afraid to like take up space, and I think that's something that like women, especially in sports, are still like battling. And I think it'll be like that for a long time. But even though she's controversial and flamboyant, I think that just shows her team that she's not afraid to like be out there and just to make a name for herself and for them. So I think that's that in the NIL. Like you can do anything in this age of NIL, and I think she's just not afraid to do that. So.
Who's not flamboyant? We'll give us a couple minutes to talk about. This show is also brought to you by WestVirginiaSportsNation.com. I'm Mitch Rogers, John Fredericks, Kyle Carrington, and Ivy White are joining us today. I promise we do a little bit, but something that's not flamboyant, a coach that doesn't feel like he's flamboyant? Ross Hodge, the new coach for West Virginia. He seems very fine, likable, defensive-minded. But these are all things I've just had to ask ChatGPT. Didn't know who the guy was until this coaching search started, right, John? We're trying to act like and go back and be like,
when you're getting a coach of a D4 school with a storied program, and you got to go to ChatGPT to find out who he is, what does that tell you, right?
John and I were talking about this yesterday, and I was talking about Ren Baker it was difficult, Kyle, right? So they run a coaching search last year. A lot of the guys that they were looking at that went to other schools had interviewed last year and got basically passed over for coach never saying your name again at Indiana. So now kind of had to go down the list, kind of had to wait until the people were out of the tournament. And then you take a coach, which I do like, that is still coaching his North Texas team in the NIT. Like it's really awesome. Like, Kyle, do you think that this hire could be something good because the fan base and the students seem mixed?
He got a West Virginia-esque style to him. West Virginia always been a defensive-minded school. Bob Huggins and Press Virginia, they were really defensive-minded. So you bring in a guy who's just showed toughness and grit through his coaching and his career, but they are hiring a guy who coached at the junior college as a head coach for 2 different junior colleges. That makes up most of his 80% win record. The last 2 years in North Texas has been okay. Like this year, 27-8, that's pretty good. But the year before that, well, like it's 22 and 15 or something like that. I'm not sure. I got to fact check. But Ross Hodge, he hasn't proven it on a big enough stage. You got guys like Kevin Keats out there who's looking for a job from NC State, who's proven it at the ACC level. You wanted to go with a younger coach to give him a chance to move up, like Jared Calhoun or maybe Ben McCullum. But once you didn't get those guys, I think you should have went with a more veteran coach who's been there been at the stage, who already been at ACC, a Power 5 school, instead of going for the younger guy. So I'm not big on the Ross Hodge hiring. I think that defense can only get you so far in the Big 12, but it's not a terrible hiring.
No, and I'll give you the last word before we head to our break before the second hour here. Yeah, it's almost like I'm doing a 1 degree of separation here because Grant McCaslin, he came from Arkansas State. Now Grant's Texas Tech team is looking pretty darn good. So I'm almost looking at Texas Tech like that's the coach we got, even so that's like the only way. I mean, does watching Texas Tech and what they're doing give us any more promise with our new hire?
I know within like the students, it's definitely like mixed. At first glance, you're like, who is this? Why would we hire this man? What has he done? When you do look at his stats, they are like slightly impressive. He does have, a little bit of a background, but how that's going to carry out into D1 is completely different. We honestly have no idea how he's going to perform. I think in your guys' last podcast, John, you mentioned with DeVries, like WVU is never his end goal. He kind of took it as a stepping stone. And so the one thing I do appreciate with Hodge is he does have the ability to kind of build within WVU. And I know when he did his speech, like welcoming himself to WVU, he mentioned his last team, thanked them, which is something we didn't get from DeVries, and he wasn't thankful for, what WVU did. And I think the fan base will appreciate Hodge and what he's bringing in. So hopefully he performs well, but I guess it's kind of just something we'll have to wait and see as the season goes.
Absolutely. Well, we're very thankful for all our listeners.
DeVries is an athletic terrorist as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
The way he treated us was the support we gave this guy and his son. I mean, you got to think about it. If you're part of the West, and now we're just going to extend this thing because we don't really need to split it up the way we did with college football. It's unbelievable. I mean, the way he treated us at the end, like he had an Indiana shirt on, like within 3 seconds after his final game, and he knew where he was going. And the whole thing was really despicable. And, I tell you, Mitch, you and I had this conversation. What goes around comes around, right? You get older, you think you're on top of the world. God's going to ping you down when you treat people poorly. It's just the way it works in this world. If you're a believer, he'll ping you down. I mean, I was appalled by DeVries' exit. The way he treated us, no thank you. No, hey, what wasn't for you fans coming out, packing the stadium. We brought, you know how many people went to the tournament in the Bahamas? You know how expensive that was? We packed that place. I mean, Louisville had double the people we had, but we had more than Arizona, Gonzaga, the other teams there. So it was just despicable. And he just leaves that way. Now, look, you guys should write columns on this, right? Because I think I don't know who this Hodges guy is, but it seems like, donors are upset, fans are upset, they wanted a bigger name, but I felt bad for Ren Baker. I mean, this thing couldn't linger. He had to make a quick decision, Mitch and Ivy. What was he going to do? There's not a lot of options out there. He doesn't want to go through another DeVries that just comes and does a stepping stone. That's why he went back to Rich Rod. So, I mean, Baker's in a tough position here, but nobody's happy. When he did Rich Rod, everybody's happy. We all got it. Now, half the people get it, the other half hate it. So I don't know.
Absolutely. You're listening to the Godzilla Win Show, about to get to the second hour. If you want to get that West Virginia sports we're talking about, hit westvirginiasportsnation.com. And hey, Coach DeVries, like the old Johnny Cash song said, God might come and cut you down, according to John Fredericks.
Song, man. Love that song, Johnny Cash, baby.
That's all I could hear when you said it. All right, we're going to get the second hour. Kyle and Ivy, thank you. Ivy and Kyle, if you want to stay around, you can. Matthew Lumsden, Jay Delsing, some true athletes coming on for this second hour. Not that you guys aren't. I know Kyle and Ivy are too.
Guys. I got to coach some basketball, so I got to get out of here. But thanks for having me. Thanks for having me. I loved it.
No problem. No problem at all. We'll be right back with the second hour. We're going to get into some NCAA March Madness right after this.
The best part about waking up in the morning is a great cup of coffee, and I get this every day with my 1775 coffee. It's rich, it's bold, best tasting coffee I've ever had. Single origin, farmed in Bolivia, 7,000 feet. It's always fresh, roasted daily. This is the best coffee you're ever going to get. Go to 1775coffee.com, 1775coffee.com. Promo code Godzilla, 10% off. It's going to make your day every day.
If you're looking for a nutritional supplement that really makes a difference, look at Immuno 150. Now this exceptional product contains 70 minerals and 80 additional nutrients. It's precisely formulated with the purest of ingredients, and it's inexpensive in relation to the results it produces. There is nothing like it. Now look at the supplement facts and the 2 videos on our website and place your order online or call our toll-free number. See what 70 minerals and 80 of the best nutrients can do for you.
You're listening to Godzilla Wins on the John Fredericks Media Network. For a deeper dive without the jive, visit the website of winners, GodzillaWins.com. Let's get back to the show with the guys in the know, John, Jack, and Nate. It's Godzilla Wins on the John Fredericks Media Network.
All right, we're back with Godzilla Wins Live. Going to get to some Saturday Picks edition. Where first hour, we talked about some Major League Baseball, other sports, NCAA women's basketball, Ovechkin and Crosby breaking some records. But now we're going to get to some NCAA March Madness. I'm Mitch Rogers, joined by John Fredericks. And in this hour, we're bringing in Jay Delsing and Matthew Lumsden. Always a pleasure to have you both. Thank you for coming in. You're coming in for the fun. And the first hour is fun, too, but the second hour is the madness hour. We rolled into the Sweet 16 that ended on Thursday and Friday. Just some awesome games, especially. And I'm jumping right into this. We've gone all chalk, man. I mean, even in the NCAA women's tournament, all chalk. And for those that don't know what chalk means, the favorites are just winning everything right now. And the only chance we had at kind of non-chalk was Arkansas, right? And it was a great story. John Calipari, coaching up his team. They get better as the season goes on. That just seemed in line. They held like a 15, 16 point lead in the second half. Texas Tech comes storming back, Matthew. First, thank you for coming to the show. Welcome into the show. I'm a huge Pirates fan. I hate the Braves, so that Smoltz banner behind you just makes me want to smolder. But whatever. Besides that, are you getting into the March Madness? Did you get into any of the Sweet 16 already?
Yeah, no, I watched it all. Kind of wish, I think a couple weeks ago we talked about the transfer portal with baseball and how it's kind of diminishing that middle tier. I wish I took that approach in March Madness, just hammer the favorites. It would have panned out well, but Darian Williams and Christian Anderson, that was a special last 4.5 minutes there at Texas Tech. They put together a run, and then they were able to top it off in OT. It was an impressive comeback. I'm sure Coach Cal is wishing he had that one back.
Yeah, I'm sure. Jay, welcome to the show. You got
bitchy.
Yeah. No, it's good to be back. It's been a few weeks since we've been on together personally. Good to have you on. And and I know in the second, after this, you'll be talking about golf. The golf season is ramping up. I love the new flipping, waste management to the players, then the Masters, because you don't have that month lull. So I cannot wait to listen to your show because the Masters weekend rivals these weekends that I have during the tournament as my favorite weekends of the year. What say you with the Sweet 16 and March Madness?
It's exactly like Matthew said, and it's great to be with you guys. We're watching the death of the mid-majors, guys. First of all, the NCAA, which we've already confirmed for the last 40, 50 years, couldn't run your kid's lemonade stand out in the front of their house. Just an absolutely pitiful exhibition of anything. Opening up the trade portal, we got over 1,000 kids in there. Gong show, right? Gong show. And if you're betting, how do you not roll with the favorites? We don't have any of these wonderful stories, guys, that we'd have these Cinderella teams that are somehow making it through this tournament and making it really, really special. It's just gone. And then, we got to talk Cooper Flagg somewhere along the line.
Sure.
This dude is an absolute stud. It's so much so that the NBA teams are tanking and getting, fined hundreds of thousands of dollars because they want to see if they can, get this kid on the roster. So I don't know, man. I don't know if this is just, an aberration, if we're watching a significant change in college sports because of the NIL. And listen, I'm all for everybody getting their bag. I get it. But somewhere along the line, guys, make some rules that make some sense for these kids. Let them get paid, but Don't let them be hopping back and forth before the year's over. And pull your head out of your ass. Let's go.
Yeah, and
the NCAA, come on.
And I know, Matthew, sometimes you come on, we start getting on the old guy radio ranting, but I don't, from a perspective from your generation,
that was pretty good, old guy radio rant.
Hey, we're good, and it's deserved. Yeah. I mean, when I got into,
I'm old. I mean,
hey, I put a hat on. I'm creeping up to 52, so I'm there as well. And when I got into basketball, we were watching like Georgetown, Indiana in the 80s. I mean, perennial teams that had their players play for 4 years. Now I know we've been well beyond that, and we've been through the mid 90s when you had the one and done players, when all of a sudden LeBron and Kobe weren't going in. Kobe was supposed to be at Duke, right? Like, so we've been through these ups and downs, but this feels like it's permanence, that you're never going to be able to have that team that just has starters for 4 seasons, figured it out, and now they're going on their run. Like George Mason, I covered that team. We covered that team as freshmen at a radio station I worked at in Fairfax, Virginia. And when they made their run, it was surprising to everyone but the people in the area, because they could do that. Matthew, I don't think there's a chance with all the nil to have that same thing. Like, it's, even if a mid-major goes on a run, you probably peel the curtain back, and they paid the people unprecedented. So if you see like North Texas go on a run, you're going to go, So it just feels like that's gone. What's it like for your generation? It's still exciting, or do you guys look at the past and say may have been a little bit better then?
I think especially in the basketball format with the one and done, I think the excitement is diminished significantly. I mean, everybody loves the 12, 13, 14 seeds coming in, knocking off 2 big time programs. But now it's hard to replicate that because recruiting's almost devalued. Like you said, if North Texas came in, they get that round of 64, they get that round of 32 win. All of those kids are playing in Power 4 programs next year. They're all making a crap ton of money, and they're all going on to the next thing. So it's going to be hard to maintain success, I think, at that level for sure, which is going to kill the excitement. Like you said, it's just chalk everywhere.
John, you know what makes me mad is the SEC is already good in football. Like, you know what? Can you just give the Big East, give the Big 12, somebody else? I know all the money's there. I get it. It's warm. It's nice. My family's from Birmingham, and it's Alabama. I get it. It's a different world down there. And I always wondered when that would translate to basketball, and it always confounded me that it never did. But now it has. I mean, I know we crapped on it a little bit with all these SEC schools in there, but they are representing. I know a couple of them got bounced, but overall, they seem pretty legit. And it's because of the money, right? It's just so much money down south.
They just buy the players. I mean, they get so much money because they have so many donors and so many benefactors and, so much alumni giving the money and advertisers that want to be associated with the program, buying their signage and things of that nature. And they have an ungodly, unlimited amount of money. They're all like, it's the New York Yankees and the New York Mets and the Dodgers are all in the SEC. The days where you're going to get my school, Fairleigh Dickinson, getting into the Sweet 16, making a run, or getting into the Elite 8, or at George Mason, like you mentioned, when you go back in memory, some of these, 15 seeds, or I think Fairleigh Dickinson was a 15 seed. They got to the Elite 8 and actually were competitive in that game. But those days are over. I mean, you're just not going to get it now because you're just going to be, like you say, even if you had a good team, all the players are gone because the big schools buys them. I mean, I'm not saying it's bad. It's good for the players to make that kind of money. No problem. But that's kind of where we are right now. If you look at who's remaining in the men's tournament, you've only got, it's a 1-2 seed and 1-3 seed. That's it. I mean, it's a 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-3. So nobody got knocked off. A lot of these games weren't even. I mean, I think Duke beat somebody the other day by like 55 or 60. These games aren't even competitive now. But there's no, the excitement of remember when Seton Hall, because I'm from New Jersey. Remember when Seton Hall got to the finals with Pete Carolizimo?
Yeah, PJ Carlesimo. Yeah,
they played the Fab Five, the five freshmen at Michigan, and Seton Hall had the game won up until the end, and then missed a foul shot or something. But those days are gone, dude. You're not going to get a Seton Hall going to the finals. This is over.
Well, and you know what else is gone? Like, that Fab Five where, how did they get that team put together? But, it's fine. But I would hate to be someone running a business in hiring kids out of college right now, because look at what they're being taught. I mean, so we talked about Texas Tech, Florida. They're going to be playing Florida. Florida beats Maryland, the Crab Five. It's a huge story in this area. Reese's brother is the star, whatever. He, picked up the ball, maybe traveled a little bit to get to that point. But then you have their Coach Willard, who was planting seeds about not being able to have a hotel accommodation in a December tournament, planting seeds that they didn't have enough budget. And then you find out this a-hole has already signed with Villanova. He's already out the door. And so he barely even, they lose to Florida. He barely addresses it in the conference and just says, "Oh, I don't know. My agent takes care of that." So like what these kids are learning right now, what we've seen with DeVries at West Virginia, like there's no loyalty. Now you're being taught you must go where the money is, Jay. And that's fine. I get it. Get your bag. But my Lord, it seems like, when you make a commitment to somebody, you look at that AD in their face and say, "I'm here for 4 or 5 years." There should be something to that. And there just doesn't seem to be any, Jay.
You're right. I mean, it's one thing if the kids are going to be one and done, go to the NBA. I mean, I don't think you can really stop that. But there's got to be a way to say, hey, look at this NIL deal is okay. Let's say you sign a 1-year NIL deal. Great. But that runs through the end of the year, meaning when college basketball has ended. You're not allowed to run and jump as soon as your team's out or you get off. That's got to be tampering. It's just got to be, because it jeopardizes the integrity of the games that are still going on. I mean, even for these good teams, look what the SEC did in basketball, 16 bids. I mean, so it's just about just follow the money and look great, but have some structure in there so that this doesn't just, do what it's doing to the games that still are meaningful. I mean, it's killing it. And as far as I'm concerned, but guys, here's one thing we don't want to miss. The talent level is sick. I mean, these kids are balling out. I mean, when you're watching, it's fun. I mean, what were the number of threes that Alabama hit the other day? It was like, what? Was it 25 threes?
What did Sears had all threes, right? He had 30 points, all threes, 10 of them.
Nobody shot layups or free throws. They all just went back behind the arc. So, I mean, the talent is there. It's just hard to try to keep track of where the hell these kids are. I mean, God forbid you fall in love with a kid and want to watch his career. Like, wait a minute, I don't know, man. It's gotten so confusing with all the realignment, and now we've got West Coast kids play, so it's just kind of a free for all for me.
Well, and John, you have a son that's in college sports right now. When you do that, you have to go to another university and sit in front of kids at Villanova that just saw you take a job while Maryland was going on a run with 2 7-footers that could have really made a run. How do you even preach anything to these kids where they're not going to think you're full of S?
You go to the library, you go to the bookstore, you buy a book, one of those inspirationals. You get it at whatever the
AJ Brown from the Eagles.
Yeah, you get one of those books, you memorize 50 lines in it, and you say that over and over because it's all plastic. It's basically what you do. I mean, I'm being as candid as I can. There's nothing here from the heart. It's like, I took the money, you take the money. It's all about the money. There's no loyalty. There's no heart. There's nothing but a dime bag. That's it. Let's just follow the cash around. And so how do you preach these kids anything? I mean, the days where you when I used to coach basketball, I used to tell Ann, I got on my varsity team, I got 12 players. I wouldn't carry over that. Some coaches carried 15. I would never do that. I carried 12 players. I rotated them in. Everybody played. Nobody could ever complain about PT because of the offense I ran. It's every 2 minutes, we just rotated them in. But when I was on that court, like I had 12 kids. That was my classroom. Like I could instill things. Can't do that now. I mean, that's like, you gotta be kidding me. Let's just say something like that. They'd be like, what? I mean, where's the money? So you can't the purpose of coaching was to, take men and mold them and make them into something. Can't do that now. It's all because it's about it's just like it's about the players. Now it's about the coaches making money. And the guy from Maryland that went to Villanova, he just fouled the pot. I mean, he didn't care. It's unbelievable. And his head wasn't even in that game because he's already gone. Jay nailed it. What are you teaching these kids? So it's not even a student athlete anymore. Now it's a business. And unfortunately, we just all have to accept what college athletics has become. It's a business.
It is a business, Matthew. And it feels like it had to become a business. NCAA was in a bad spot because you had players coming out of high school and going overseas and playing in some of the other leagues around here and getting some money first. So it put NCAA in a bad spot. But Matthew, they could do something, right? Like the transfer portal on Monday during the tournament. I mean, we could switch some of this stuff up to make it work.
No, for sure. I think if you told me 5 years ago that the highlight of my March in college sports would be the NCAA wrestling championships,
oh, it was awesome.
I would have believed that. But when I tell you that was the coolest thing I have seen in a while, knocking off an Olympic gold medalist, that was badass. That was
the highlight of my weekend last weekend. Yeah.
Oh, it was awesome. But no, I think they were in a tough spot, so I'll give them a little bit of leeway there. I think though, if you're going to start paying these kids like pro athletes, you almost have to start treating it as such. I mean, you can't. Joe Burrow's not getting up at the end of the year saying, "I'm going to play for the Bills next year. I'm going to replace Josh Allen or go to the Chiefs." Like, no. If you're under contract, you're under contract. Force these kids into 3-4 year deals.
Yes.
If they want the money, good for them. But you're stuck. And if you don't pan out, you're going to ride the bench. You're going to have a lot of money as an 18-year-old. You'll be okay. I think there needs to be something though. Whether it's long-term.
I'm with you. I'm with you, Ben, on that 100%. Because the way it is now is, you look at it. It is perpetual free agency and perpetual money. So there's no loyalty because if I can go in the portal if I'm unhappy because I'm not getting the PT I want, or I don't like the coach, or I don't like the whatever they're running. I don't like it. I go in the portal. I go in the portal because I get more money. I mean, if you look at just our team, the West Virginia baseball team, most of those kids, except for Meyer and my son and a couple others, they all came from the portal, all of them, and they're going to turn over again. So this is what now the business has become, because the good players are going to get more money somewhere else. Chase Meyer's gone. You can that's one bet that you can make. Yeah. No way he's staying. He's gone to LSU or Auburn or something. He'll get $150,000, $200,000. So your best players go for more money, and then the other players leave, and then you got to keep doing the portal thing over and over and over. And then you think about it. You got to recruit against other teams, right? So it's not like you're recruiting out of high school. Hey, come to my campus, and we show a lot of love, and we have a great workout facility, right? That's how you recruited out of high school. We have a great community. We take care of our kids. You bring your parents in, all that. None of that happens now. It's like, how much money am I going to get, and where am I going to play? Make my deal. Okay, I promise you $100,000, and you'll be my starting third baseman, and you'll hit third for at least the first 15 games. You got my commitment. Well, what about the other kid playing third? Done, right? Because you just made a commitment. All this stuff is behind the scenes that no one's really picking up on, Matthew.
$150,000, man. And you guys know Morgantown. I mean, I have to donate plasma twice for $35 a week, and that would get me through. I mean, I can't even imagine. I would take my student loan check that I thought I was getting over on my dad, but he said, and then cash that bad boy and just have, $2,000. I thought I was the richest man. I was buying shots everywhere. I could not imagine having that much money. And Matthew brings up the NCAA tournament. They deal with the same thing. I mean, that electric match against Hendrickson, Gable had already won an Olympic gold medal, had already been to the NFL, and already been to WWE, and still had eligibility, and he was allowed to come back. And obviously Hendrickson must have been on some healthy cell, John, to that last second comeback with like 30 seconds left. It was the most electrifying thing ever. And this Air Force cadet salutes the president, and just one of the craziest moments I've seen.
Jack and Nate are not here, so you can tell the truth. President Trump went to that tournament because he really appreciates college athletics. He went to that tournament, and the West Virginia wrestler had a MAGA hat on. I'm just reporting the news.
Oh yeah, you are. He
had a MAGA hat. It was all over the news. In fact, Matthew sent it to me. Thank you, Matthew, for doing that. Matthew sent it to me. He had a MAGA hat on, and then he goes over to the president and he salutes him. See, that to me was like, that's what college athletics is supposed to be. And it's now turned into something else, no doubt about it. But shout out to him for doing that. Shout out to President Trump for taking the time out of everything he's doing to go to the NCAA wrestling championship and spend the entire time there. Like he got there before it started. He ended after it was over. And it's a good.
And it's awesome that's in Pennsylvania. I mean, Western Pennsylvania is obviously Penn State has everything was Penn State, Iowa. It felt like it was all Penn State, Iowa. And then obviously with Minnesota, with Gable and so forth. But yeah, I mean, it was electric, and you're right. It was crazy. Like, and I don't want to like bring it up too much, but like the broadcast itself had Daniel Cormier on it. So it just felt like a UFC broadcast. It was just so cool. But come on, John, I tried to segue you into a healthy cell read and you didn't do it for me. So now I'm just going to do it. Just read it.
That kid took the healthy cell focus. Like that's why I'm so sharp every day. I love my healthy cell. Look, 67, baby. I'm at the White House. I go to these press briefings 2 times so far now. I've been in the Oval Office. So, but I got to be at the top of my game. I get up at 3:15 every day, sometimes 3 to 3:15 if I put that little snooze thing on my phone or whatever that is, 15 minutes. But normally I get up at 3. I got to be at the top of my game, right? I got to be healthy. I can't get sick. And what do? Healthy Cell. I take collagen. I told you about that. Healthy Cell. I take 2 every day when I get up. I take the bio vitamins, gives you all the vitamins I need in case I'm not eating properly, especially when Aunt's not here. She's back exiled in Pittsburgh till she comes out of exile. So I gotta stay healthy. And then I take my Focus. You know who turned me on to that? Doug Collins, now VA Veterans VA Secretary of the VA, which is right across the street from me. Collins turned me on to that. He told me, take this. It's really made a difference. It really does. It keeps you sharp. So I take the bio, I take the Focus, and then I take REM sleep before I go to bed. Get a good night's sleep, good to go, jump out of bed, rare and atom. All you got to do is go to healthycell.com, promo code Godzilla, and you're going to get 20% off. Take control of your life, your health, your vitamins, healthycell.com, promo code Godzilla, 20% off. You're good to go.
Shout out to Doug Collins, not to be confused with the old Chicago Bulls and Washington Wizards coach as well. Right. So every time you say it, it just makes me think of Michael Jordan's first run. All right. So now, we used to call this a Saturday pick show, right? So we got some games. We got some Elite Eight stuff going on. Let's jump into. We talked about Texas Tech. What's funny is, I was rooting for this Cinderella team, which was, the 14th SEC team put in Arkansas, right? So it just goes to the point that our Cinderella was the SEC team, the only chance we had. It looked good for a little while. It didn't happen. Texas Tech moves on. They go against Florida. We spoke about Florida. They took on the Crab Five. Florida last week's, kind of showed some chinks in the armor. They just seem to get a little nervous. But as you see in these tournaments, Jay, it's almost like to make this run and win, you struggle in one game, you get past that, and then it's almost like the monkey is off your back because now Florida, they are just tough. I don't have his name. Condon. Is it Condon who got hurt, then comes back in? I may have the name wrong. You guys correct me. When they're all together and healthy, Florida looks like they could be the favorite to win this whole thing. Jay, what do you think?
Yeah, no, absolutely. 16-0 in non-conference games this year.
Jeez.
And, I think one of the keys to getting through this tournament, guys, is surviving the clunker. When I played, I had to figure out how to make my bad round 70 or 71, and that was very difficult to do. But when you can get by that game when you're off, you get, it was Alex Condon, I thought, that got hurt and came back, Mitch. But I think that's what, you can look back at that game and go, man, we didn't have our best stuff and we still got through it. When you start looking at the number 6.5, man, the numbers are so tight. But the favorites have been covering. I don't know how you go against Florida with just the history of what's been going on. So I like the Gators. It just looks like what John said earlier. The number one. I mean, you can almost go damn near down the seating chart. It just is rolling that way.
Yeah, Matthew, we all when the tournament comes around, everybody, all my friends get brackets. All of a sudden, everyone becomes an expert at everything, and it's like, but we haven't seen a lot of this. But I've watched a lot of Texas Tech. Texas Tech just didn't seem like themselves until that run. Then JT Toppins and everybody just really came together, and that was the Texas Tech that I've seen all year long. Why they're seated where they're at, and I think they're going to give Florida real fits. What do you think?
I don't know. I love JT Toppin as much as the next one. I think you summed it up perfectly with Florida, though. Kind of got the yips out of their system. It seemed like in that Connecticut game, they showed out last 2 nights ago. And the most impressive part to me was Walter Clayton did not have a very good game, and He's a bad man. So I think he gets back to it today, and I think Florida covers pretty convincingly. I think it's down to them and Duke. I think that Houston-Tennessee game, though, is probably going to be the most exciting one of the weekend.
John, we complain about chalk, but chalk brings some dang good games, right? So, Florida Duke, I know I'm bitching about it, but Florida Duke sounds pretty good now that I'm thinking about it, just from a viewer's perspective. But Texas Tech is formidable. We've seen Florida struggle a little bit. I mean, Florida got hot at the end, so they became like that elite team. Looked like they may have lost some of that luster, but now they're flying high, especially after that game last week. Texas Tech have any chance against Florida today? I feel this coming.
I have to compliment you, Mitch. First of all, you're a phenomenal host. You're doing a great job.
Oh, thank you.
So thank you for that. And you're a big asset to WVSportsNation.com, and your columns there. Go to Mitch, please. I mean, they're absolutely spot on, and they're only getting better. So we appreciate that. Everybody go to WVSportsNation.com, WVSportsNation.com. Bookmark that. Sign up for the news alert that we'll get together in a couple of weeks, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But your analysis before was riveting to me, and Matthew picked up on it. Like Florida had their blip, right? They had their blip, they overcame it. And normally in a tournament like this, when that happens and you survive, the next game is like lights out. So that's where I think Florida is right now. Florida got that bejesus scared out of them by the Huskies, were able to survive and win that game. Now I think Texas Tech is on the wrong end of a very angry Gator team. I think they're going to come out and win this game handily. So I'm going to take the Gators -6.5.
Yeah, and you know what I really liked in that UConn game, you saw Walter Clayton Jr. struggle mightily the first half, even into the second half. But then all of a sudden, after all of that, he didn't give up, and he poured it on, and he has one of the prettiest 3-point shots when he is on, and it was nice to see. And when you see their star player mirror the team, like, hey, we struggled a little bit, but hey, I'm going to put you on my back and go. And then they just started. Florida doesn't run much they don't run the complicated offense. I mean, it's this little pick and roll, and sometimes but they just have the athletes to do it. I agree. I think they got their quote unquote loss or their scare out of the way, and Florida takes care of business against Texas Tech. -6.5. I hate that spread, but I'm doing it. -6.5 Florida, because they're going to be facing the winner of this game.
Don't be afraid of the lumber. I mean, there's a lot of people get afraid of it. Down the stretch, I've always preached this. Bet the team you think is going to win. Maybe they don't cover, but if you think they're going to win, bet them. And don't be afraid of the wood. 6.5. Look, I mean, it could be, it could be a 10-point game, and then, Florida misses 3 foul shots, and then, they hit 2 threes at the end. Okay, so you lose the bet. But Florida's going to win this game.
Absolutely.
Yeah, on what John said, I want to jump on that real quick. Favorites of 7 or more in this tournament. The only team to lose so far is Clemson. So if you are that confident in them winning, everybody favored by 7 more has outright won besides Clemson. So I want to get that out there.
Please get out. I'm taking notes on that. I need to.
I mean, they're going to win based on what we're seeing. So I like the 6.5 on that one.
Absolutely. And on Thursday to start the Sweet 16, a lot of people were big on BYU, right? Alabama has played amazing offense, but doesn't play much on the defense side of the ball. BYU has kind of got hot at the right time. A lot of pundits around the nation were picking the upset over Alabama in that Sweet 16 game, and boy, were they wrong. Alabama not only won, but they became the highest scoring team ever in the Sweet 16. They blew the doors off of BYU, 113-88. And Jay, when I say that doesn't even do it justice. It doesn't even do it justice. It felt like even a bigger win than that.
Bro, that game, it just shows you when you sprinkle a little magic dust and confidence on some of these guys who was like, we're just going to wing one over this way and it's going to go in, and I'm going to pass it over to John, who's going to shoot it over the back of his head, and it's going to be a 3. It was awesome. And I mean, how much fun was Alabama having? I mean, unfortunately, it's been 100 years since I played high school basketball, but we used to have to play in the inner city. And when the boys from the inner city got hot, it was like, Coach, take me out. We're going down by 30, and this is not going to be fun. And that's what it looked like. It just looked like, why would you play defense? It was like, what all they wanted to do was give me the ball, and I'm going to chuck it. It was really fun to watch. And yeah, the pundits that were pulling for BYU, you could tell about, what was it, Mitch? Like 6-8 minutes into that game, you're like, guys, this is going to go bad. You're getting boat raced here.
John, long gone are those days that Jay's talking about. What Mark Sears scored 30 of his 34 points beyond the arc, and it felt like Alabama. That's all they would just go down, fast break, stop at the arc, 3-point basketball. I know we've talked about it. We don't need to get in the old, what it was like back in the day. It's pretty darn exciting brand of basketball that you're seeing from Bama, isn't it?
Live by the sword, die by the sword.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to hit another 33s. It's not against Duke. I love Duke in this game. What are they? They're also 6.5. So both these are 6.5. I'm betting both chalk here. I mean, you make one of the players was like 10 for 15 in threes. Just is not going to happen against Duke, right? This is a very different team. Duke is one of the most well-balanced team we've seen in a long time. Plus, they've got the number 1 pick in the draft. And the Cooper Flagstaff is going to have an outstanding game here. He's looking forward to it. They're going to slow them down. And, if they can jack up 53s and make 30 of them, they're good. They're going to win the game. I just don't see it happening again. Now they're playing a real number 1 seed with a real defense that's going to figure this out. I think Alabama's gone as far as they're going to go, and I think they get beat handily today.
Hey, guys, how does Bama stop Duke? How does Bama stop Duke?
They haven't stopped anyone all year. I mean, they still
that's my question.
Yeah.
Duke is going to score $110 in this game. They have no defense. Look, when I coached basketball, I ran that Paul Westhead offense where every 90 seconds, as soon as there was a timeout, I put
rotate
5 players in. All we do was press the ball. We didn't play defense. We didn't play defense. If they got the ball past my press down the other thing, they were going to score. All we had to do was outscore them. That was it.
You would need a $100,000 high school budget to be able to have that many players. You guys couldn't even do that now.
Yeah. So all we had to do was, steal 30% steal 30% of the balls on the press incoming, and then score every time we had the ball, and just run. And by the fourth quarter, if I was down by 7 or 8 or under, we won every single game because they were exhausted. But that's high school. This is real Duke basketball. I just don't see it.
Duke is 10-0, Mitch, when they score over 87 and 87.
And they are going to score over 87. Hey, John, I bet I know Mark Sears is driving around Newark right now. I know one of your AM stations probably feeds out there. If he's listening to you, he's probably like, hold my beer. I can do these 3 points again. You don't think I can do that again? Mark Sears is a different man, different animal when it comes to that 3-point line. He can redo that again and put the pressure on Duke. I don't know if it's going to be enough, Matthew. So if you're going to, but I want to get to Cooper Flagg real quick. I know we talked about him last week, but it's funny. Like I said, a lot of people don't get into college basketball until the NCAA tournament. You've heard Cooper Flagg. He's the number 1 guy. He's going to be the number 1 pick overall. And a lot of people don't start watching until the Sweet 16. So he's prime time. He starts off a little slow, right? And I'm sure there's some people going, this lanky white dude's the number 1 pick. People just, and then he showed off and showed why. And it was remarkable as it was almost, I mean, it was the Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant turnaround jumpers. He showed the world that he can get his shot off at any time. Matthew, he is legit, and that's going to make Duke obviously tough to beat, right?
Oh yeah, no, I'm going with the 6.5 all day. I love that these guys took care of everything for me. The question is, how many points does Duke score?
Yeah, what's the
I love the over.
What is it? What is it? Yeah.
I like the over. I like Duke's team total. It's up to 174.5. Open at 172. But you can't convince me Duke's not scoring 100 points. Come on now. BYU put up 88. Right. Now you're going to Duke. They're scoring 100 plus. And Malik Brown only played 4 minutes last game, who is arguably Duke's best defender. Bama's still going to score. They're still going to score. I think they could lose by 25, but they'll get their 75 points we need. So if you can give me like a 110 to 80, there's a 15-point cover. I feel good about it.
Oh, I love it.
I like that score, 110 to 80. You know what?
110 to 80.
Good. I think that's good. I think they go
Bama's
over.
going off of sheer volume too, boys. Sheer volume.
If you really wanted to make a parlay here, you bet Duke and the over, because if Duke wins by 6.5, they're going to pop the over, right? So it's almost that's a pretty good parlay to me, Duke and the over, because if the over doesn't hit, Duke's not going to cover by 6.5. Is the way I look at it.
Well, that'd be your first parlay ever, right? That'd be the first parlay you ever did, right? In history, right?
No, I did some hockey parlays this season.
You never do overs, never do unders, but then you do every once in a while.
Well, you know what? Maybe I'll break it out today. I bet one over under game in my lifetime, and it was I bet a football game over Monday Night Football, and it was 0-0 at the half. I never bet another one again.
Oh, and so if you want to make your first over, Jay and John, have you been on an Alabama override this year? It is exhilarating when both teams have to score 90 points for you to win your bag. It is. You're like, yeah, they basically have to score. They both each have to score 4 points a minute. I was doing it like every minute you have to get a bucket, and it is crazy. And like the Auburn Alabama game, I think it went to overtime, and I got one. But it's a fun ride. Do it. Just put a little $10, $20 on the over today, and just like have fun with it as just threes just reign supreme.
The ball will be in the air today, guys. It's going to be fun. I love what we're saying. I just don't see how Alabama stops Duke. That's the problem.
Yeah, it's a plethora of riches down in Tuscaloosa. I am a Bama fanatic. My family is Bama fans, and it almost doesn't feel right from dominating football for this many years, and now Alabama just coming in, now trying to be a dominant force in the March Madness, and kind of going above their means a little bit. A lot of people thought they'd falter, and that's why BYU was such a favorite coming into that. But yeah, I would take. I probably would take Duke as well. I don't know.
You better make a decision.
I'm taking Duke minus 6.5. I'm gonna have to do it. Yeah. Sorry, Dad. It's just that's where the money's gonna go, right? That's just where the money's going to go.
They're the best team with the best player. I mean, and they play defense and they score. So what's the problem?
Absolutely.
I don't see the problem here.
That's true. Right. All right, I want to move on to the second games, but we just have this great sponsor, Native Path, John. We got to give them
college in. It's $1 a day. I mean, why wouldn't you spend $1 a day? Think of what you spend $1 a day on, like nonsense. I mean, it's $1 a day to feel better and look better. Okay, it's $1 a day, and I'm going to feel better, and my joints are going to feel better. I'm going to look better. I'm going to get color back. I'm going to lose some weight, and it's $1 a day. No, I don't want to do that. I'd rather spend it on, I don't know, like a toll somewhere. It's like stupid. It's like it's beyond the pale of dumb not to spend $1 a day to feel and look better. All you got to do is go to nativepath.com/Godzilla, nativepath.com/Godzilla. Get your collagen. 2 weeks, you're going to feel better. It's $1 a day. No brainer in history. Check it out. If it doesn't work in 2 weeks, guess what? They got a full money back guarantee. You just take the half thing, send it back. You get your $6 back or whatever it is. Or 10 or 12 or 15 or 30. It's $1 a day, right? You're like, what? It's the biggest no-brainer in the history of man. $1. You can't go through an easy pass under $1, right? You can't even do that. Just get $1 a day, Native Path. Go to nativepath.com/Godzilla. You're good to go.
Yeah. Hey, the only thing cheaper than that is this show because there's no subscription fees. You just come right on, log right in. Yeah.
I love that. Never
for less than $1 a day. For less than $1 a day, you can have Godzilla wins.
That's right. And WVSportsNation.com. No paywall. WVSportsNation.com. Hey, folks, check that out. That's such a cool site. Mitch is on it. Sometime we got to get Matthew involved in that. But Mitch is on it. He's got his column going. You heard from Ivy and Kyle. We hired like 8 young writers. And then we have the veteran, Mitch. Dan's our editor. Jack's the COO. It's a great site, great analysis. And it's just a lot of fun. And there's nothing, Mitch, I love better than giving these young writers an opportunity to get a byline, learn. They got great mentors at Jack and Dan. There's nothing I like more than that.
Oh man, I know, and I compare my writing samples from my young 20s to what these guys are doing, and it's embarrassing. It's flat out embarrassing. So it is awesome. Yeah, WVSportsNation.com. I'll have a column up today. But my last column was about the Matt Madness, and because last weekend, for some reason, I have a contingent of friends. I wrestled in high school, but I have some friends that were just higher up than that, and they don't watch any basketball. So we were all at a brewery. We all did the man thing last week. We all moved furniture. That was our excuse to all get out. And then we went to the local brewery. And then my friend was like, he just, hey, let's watch UFC because it was on at 4:00 because it was in London. And then let's watch the NCAA tournament. We had just assumed basketball, right? We get over and no. And I'm glad it was all Matt Madness. They were jumping around. So it was awesome. Check out that column. It was just kind of illustrating how exciting it was and how it even just one-upped the NCAA tournament, which is in full force right now, the men's basketball tournament. John, we talked about parlays. We talked about your other bets, but you love putting future bets down. You put a future bet, I believe, on Houston. Houston, they are lucky to still be in this tournament. And I have no idea what that inbound play was for Purdue that caused it. But what an exciting game last night. Houston squeaks it out last second, winning bucket, 62-60. We talked about Houston, John. You're not going to have your Sears and it's everybody scores about 10 to 13 points. Like we talked about it, Jay. They have the boring golf game, right? 280 down the middle, puts it on, 2 putts, par, walks off. But it's effective, John, and they're still in.
I don't think I'm going to win that bet. I don't think they can beat Duke. So I'm going to take the cash out. They really shouldn't have won that game against Purdue. Purdue should have beaten them. Like, I like the Cougars. I love their coach. I love their style of play. I love everything about them. But the problem is when you get down to this elite teams, they just don't have the firepower. And I know their defense is phenomenal, but they really should have never won that game against Purdue. And I get what you said earlier about Florida, but Florida's different. The game on Sunday, I think the Cougars are 3.5. I mean, there's no way that I can lay 3.5 on a team who wins every game by 1 or 2. Like, they don't blow anybody out. Every game comes down to the foul shots at the end. So, if I had to bet the game, I take the underdog, and I'm going to take the buyout cash out so I can get the majority of my money back. I just don't see it.
Jay, we talked about the Big Ten kind of being underrated, and then once the tournament started, we realized how good the Big Ten was. So I think Purdue was just a darn good team. I mean, Fletcher Loyer scored 16 points. I just think they were probably seated a little bit lower than they were. This is a good Purdue team. I don't think Houston needs to hang their head. And I know what you're saying, but this could be that, hey, we almost lost, and so let's see what we can do and go on a run here.
I don't see it coming out of Houston. We're just talking about a team that's made the makeup is just so different. I mean, like John said, why play defense? If you got the contrast in when you contrast Alabama and what Houston is doing. I mean, we are on opposite sides of the planet. Alabama's going to chuck the ball up, and Houston's going to slow it down and play defense and try to grind the thing out. I just don't see that being effective in the tournament. I had to watch the replay of that Purdue. What do you call it? Just the brain fart? I just don't know what. I mean, it's the thing that you're taught from the first time that you play basketball that you do not allow. I don't know. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I mean, and Matthew, you saw it, right? I mean, so you had the defender on the inbounder, and at the I get what they were trying to do. At the last second, he moved over to give some double D, and they were all over it. I mean, it was good coaching, and then the easiest game-winning shot you're going to see in history, right?
Yeah, I mean, even I could have made that shot there, and I'm by no means a basketball player. So yeah, that was an interesting choice by Purdue there for sure. Yeah, that being said, I think Tennessee is one of the few teams that can match the physicality of Houston as well. I think what you guys are saying is spot on. They don't look like they have that offensive dynamic, and I think that this is a really poor matchup for them. I think Tennessee is one of the few teams in the country. They're going to be physical. Chaz Lanier can score. I like Tennessee at the 3.5, and I was with John, was on Houston all tournament, but something's telling me Tennessee's going to pull this one out.
And Tennessee's sitting there like, hey, everybody bashing the SEC. Hey, we're one of the originals that have been pretty good in basketball the entire time. So, keep us out of that conversation. But Tennessee, for me, for whatever reason, I just didn't really follow a lot this year. So that's, just being honest, this is the team I'm kind of like getting into them now. But wow. They look pretty impressive, and John, I think that will be a tough matchup, and that could be where you might want to cash out that Houston bet.
I'm with Matthew. This is their worst matchup, really. I think they'd have a better shot playing Alabama right now or Florida. This is because Tennessee is going to match their physicality, and I think that's going to be a problem. I just don't see how they're going to score enough points to win this game. So, I've just changed my mind. I mean, you gotta make business decisions, right? I just changed my mind here based on what I've seen. So I'm going to cash out the bet, get about 2/3 of my money back, which is fine because DraftKings allows a cash out. They've gotten this far, so it's not that bad. And then, I get 75% back, and then I'm going to turn around. I'm going to bet Tennessee plus 3.5 and get out of that bet totally.
I don't know. I mean, I'm with you all there. And again, I believe it's because of Houston's, just the way they're built, and then also the way they played last game. But man, they are good, and there's no doubt that it's going to come down to maybe another last second play, which we know Houston is good at. How
many games they've won this season in the unbelievable games in the final 3 or 4 seconds? Like 5 of them, like games that they never should have won. They pull these out, they pull them out. I mean, eventually, like anything else, the clock runs out on you, right? The string runs out, and this is a very good Tennessee team. I just don't see it as much. And look, I love the Cougars. I picked them to win the whole thing. I followed them the whole season in the Big 12. I love the Cougars. I just don't see them getting beyond where they are now. And I wish the matchup was against Florida. I'd have kept my bet. Or Alabama, I'd have kept my bet, but not against Tennessee. They're just too big and too tough. They just match up too well. They take away all the positive, all the things that the Cougars have over the other teams. They take all of it away. It's their worst matchup.
And then watching last night, and Michigan State and Ole Miss. Michigan State just always in there, man. Izzo and company kind of fly under the radar in the regular season. Gets a good seed rolling through, and they show like they're worthy of it. Jade, can Michigan State? It feels like this is just the same story over and over again, and they're always kind of the same teams. How impressive is it again for Izzo to have another squad ready to make a run?
It's crazy because he's won one championship.
Right,
he's won one championship, and we're like, Tom Izzo's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Okay, he's really, really good. Sometimes I'm wondering, like, how and is it really some sort of magic dust this guy has? How does he get there all the time? I mean, I like Auburn in this game. It makes me a little bit apprehensive to bet against Izzo, but I like Auburn in this game. Auburn is just delivered all year long. They're exciting to watch. They're well coached. I don't know, man. I was thinking about Izzo last night and watching, and I'm like, how does this guy do this? I mean, who do you love on the Michigan State
He's like
team?
that Jason Isbell song, like "Last of My Kind." Like he still has that kind of Bill Belichick. He still can be that jerk and get away with it. That's why I miss Huggy Bear with WVU. Like you almost have to be tenured now, because if you're not, no one's going to play for you.
And what about what Izzy said about the NIL? He's like, listen, I'm coaching my guys up. I'm not doing an injustice to the kids. I mean, you want to talk about old school? It's probably Matthew wants to go make a sandwich or something as we talk about this again. But it's like he's like, I'm not doing any injustice to these kids because they're here for me, and these are my guys. you know, and it's kind of like what we were talking about earlier. So the thing about Michigan State, when I think about a Michigan State team, is heart and grit. You know, they seem to always have it, and it carries them for a long
Absolutely.
way.
Like, shout out to those Flint, Michigan boys, right? Mateen Cleaves and all them. That's the only title. That is, when you think about it, that's crazy. And in that era, it was Maryland's only title also. And you thought it was weird. That was kind of, they were coming up. Some of the Blue Bloods were moving over a little bit, but it always seems to go to chalk, Matthew, just like this tournament. Everything starts to just go back to normal. But what do you think about Izzo and Michigan State and Auburn in general? We got a few minutes here, so you can expand.
That's a great question. I'm not overly keen on either one. I would say, if anything, I really like Florida at 3-1 to win the whole thing, because I think they're going to make the final. And then I can reassess when it comes down to them versus Duke. Hopefully, get decent odds and can kind of hedge situationally there. But I might lean Auburn. I love the under. So you were talking about Alabama being run and gun. Michigan State's the complete opposite. They're 25-11 on the under this year, and they are 20-6 on the under when it's under 152. And by no means has Auburn looked good. I think they're under in 4 of their last 5. I like the under on it. I think it's 148.5 right now. I think it's going to be a pretty slow game. I think it's going to be kind of ugly, and I don't really want anything to do with the spread.
Yeah, and that under, you don't need 90 points on this one. So yeah, I like that too. Like, Auburn's coming on strong now a little bit. They're struggling in the tournament. That also coincides with like Johnny Broome just not having the tournament we thought he would have. He broke out of that 18 points. So if he's flying high, Auburn may be unstoppable. If he's on it, if he's kicking, right? John, what do you think about this game?
I'm going to lay the wood. I'm going to bet Auburn -5.5. But it's a bet that if I lose it, I'm not going to be upset. Because if Izzo wins this game, good for him. There's 2 coaches now in major college athletics that have rejected the Moneyball game. They've rejected the NIL, and that's Debo Sweeney in Clemson and Tom Izzo in Michigan. They're the last 2, and that's why I was rooting for Clemson every game last season. He won't go to the NIL. He's not going to do that. Debo Sweeney, he wants to get players, develop them. He wants them to be better men. He wants them to get a college education. He doesn't want them to leave. He's not going to dangle the money. And the same thing Izzo does. I mean, when Izzo made that comment, it's like, I'm here to coach kids up. You come to play for me. I'm going to make you better. And when you get out of here, if you're not playing professional basketball, you're going to be successful in life. These are the message these 2 coaches are sending. You don't get that from these other guys. Surely they didn't get it from DeVries, right? Or the guy that just went to Villanova. So you're getting it from these guys. So my heart says, I love Izzo. I love the program he's got there. I love his attitude. But Auburn's just a better team, and I'm going to lay the 5.5. All
right, I'm going to use no mental capacity here, just straight emotion. I hate Auburn. I'm a Bama fan, and I'm just going to go Michigan State. Just give me some points and let me roll here. And it's going to be,
you're getting 5.5.
I'm getting 5.5. It's going to be exciting, guys. I mean, like I said, once you get back from Rosie's Casino, you roll in, watch Florida, Texas Tech at 6:09, Duke, Alabama tonight at 8:49. I cannot wait. And the Sunday matchups, like we just talked about, Houston and Tennessee, that's your early game. And then you've got Auburn and Michigan State. It's all chalk. We might complain about it, but it's going to lead to some awesome basketball this weekend. But I'll be remiss. We got Jay Delsing on here, right? Sometimes it's like the last second, and we're like, Jay Delsing show, please. Hold on. Your show is phenomenal. Like,
it's great, Jay.
We have a
Thank you.
Former PGA golfer who my manager, by the way, has met you in the late 90s and is like obsessed. He just loves the fact that I get to talk to you every couple months, and we'll make.
I hit him with a drive, and one day, that's how I met people. I hit my drive up where they were sitting most of the time.
I think they were at a Kemper Open.
My ball's on your picnic blanket over here. Can you
I think it was at a Kemper Open and at Congressional. I don't know.
Sweet up there.
So tell us a little bit about what do we have? The tournament now is it's the Houston Children's Open?
Yeah, the Houston Open is this week. We got Scotty Scheffler, who had he's been world number 1. Guys, check out this stat. Scotty Scheffler, if he remains world number 1 for the rest of this year, will have been world number 1 for like 120 weeks in a row. Okay. He only needs to do this for 10 and a half more years to equal what TW did. 10 and a half more years. I'm like, what? It's just crazy. So,
and what's Bubba saying he's had the best season ever? Come on, man. Did you hear him?
Bubba's nuts. Bubba also thinks buildings are talking to him and trees are going to fall on him.
And he doesn't drink. He's just weird. It just feels like.
Do you ever trust a guy that doesn't drink, Mitch?
That's my dad's quote when he won the Masters. That's my dad's when he won the Masters.
John, come on.
I'm with Jay on that one, but I'm with Jay on that.
Like, how do you get a Waffle House not drunk or high? That's just the weirdest thing in the world. Like, how do you even eat Waffle House food not inebriated?
Give me John Daly back, baby. Let's go.
Exactly. Let's go to Hooters. Let's throw some wings down. Let's talk golf. I mean, you could mix football, wrestling in with John Daly. It's perfect. It's perfect.
Well,
we got a guy,
John Daly.
We got a guy on the show today, you guys, who wrote a cool book called the Top 100 Players of All Time. His name is Michael Arkush. He's a cool dude. And you want to talk about some crazy ass debates. I mean, I said, why would you take this book on?
100.
I mean, he had to research. He read every Golf Digest from 1956 on. I'm like, what? He did. Yeah, crazy.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Well, hey, if you all want some more of this golf talk, just tune in right after our show is done. Jay Delsing's show is on after us. You've been listening to the Godzilla Wins show. I'm Mitch Rogers, joined by John Frederick, Matthew Lumsden, Jay Delsing. We had Ivy and Kyle in the first hour, and please join us next week. Same time, same bat channel. Listen to Jay Delsing's show right after this. It's been a pleasure. Have a great Elite Eight weekend.
Go Duke.
Mitchie, you killed it, buddy. Jack, John, good to see you.